You're listening to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Classic Gamers Guild podcast. I'm Rick, and I'm here today with Anna and Paul. The three of us are back. How are you guys doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling pretty nostalgic about what we're going to talk about today, so that's a good thing. Good.
Paul?
I'm good. You had kind of like a Zoidberg sort of vibe about you during that intro.
Did I?
How are you guys doing today?
What?
Sound like an old
wow.
Jewish lobster.
I can't wait to listen to that back because I have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, I know what you're talking about. I have no idea how the hell I would have come across that way.
It's a pretty good impression. I think you just wanted your impression to be on the air.
Wait, what? Did I actually...
Oh, no, not you.
Paul. You mean Paul.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I mean Paul. It was good.
I thought you were accusing me. But yeah, no, his was good, a good Zoidberg.
Yeah,
that was a pretty top Zoidberg right there.
Mm-hmm. I was impressed.
Okay, so we are so far gone already that I can't possibly do a smooth segue. So we're just going to go on to today's topic, in which, we talk so much about Sierra and LucasArts, and then games that remind us in some way of Sierra and LucasArts, and we just end up talking about that. So we're going to really try to break away from it this time, and we're going to really go with like the exact opposite, and talk about a really popular series of classic games that I don't think we've really talked about very much at all on the show. The Super Mario series on the NES. So that's 1, 2, and 3.
Or 1, 2, and 3 as we traditionally know them here in North America.
What did I say?
1, 2, and 3. I mean, because Mario Brothers 2 was actually only in Japan, and it was like what we call the lost levels here, and then...
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yes, the North American 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. For our age, and you probably distinctly recall exactly when the Nintendo came out. As do I. We're the same age. Mm-hmm. Paul is a little bit younger than we are. So do you remember specifically, Paul, when the NES came out? Like, were you consciously like aware a sentient being at that point?
Yeah. So my first memory with, I think maybe video games in general is the Christmas that more so my older brother got the NES. It was like I remember it being just a ridiculously huge deal that like our family had a Nintendo.
That absolutely would be at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that emotion is tied to the memory. It's just that weird feeling of pride and shock, I guess.
So, people these days make a big deal about like, the PS5. Mm-hmm. But like back then, it's like if you knew a kid on the block who had a Nintendo, they were the most popular kid in class.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly didn't have one right away. I had to rent them from Crazy Mike's Video.
That's right.
In a suitcase.
Oh, Crazy Mike, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew him.
That asshole.
He was so crazy.
Sorry, but yeah, Paul, you were saying.
Oh, right. Yes, when did it come out? 88? I was born like the last week of 83, so I think I was like 5 or 6.
It came out technically, I think, like 85.
Out here, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Well, there's no way I remember it at 2, so...
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
it couldn't have been
so
the
that
first
answers
to
my
have
question.
It.
Partially sentient at 2, but not sentient to remember it coming out specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I specifically remember because I was already spent a couple years at that point playing like Game & Watches and similar such, like those big clunky video games where they're just like a static screen with like static characters that just kind of illuminate as you move. They're like permanently drawn in that just light up depending on where you are. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like yeah. Like it's not any animation. It's just sort of there's predetermined places and art that just kind of lights up when you move there.
Yeah, I remember that. I used to like those little things. They were fun. You could do like racing games. Mm-hmm. And the screen sort of, it appeared to be moving to my eyes. I thought it was awesome. It was more advanced than like what my neighbor had. They had the old Atari, the one with like the number pad. Mm-hmm. And they had a system with like a wheel on it. They had a few, and it was the professor. And the professor's kids had like the coolest toys. So they had all the different systems, and they let me come over and play them before they moved out.
Nice. Yeah, and the Atari, another good point there. I did play a little bit of the Atari before the NES came out. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot, but I think I might have stabbed a duck in Adventure. Whatever that thing was that was supposed to be a dragon. It did not look like a dragon.
Kind of a weird brag in the middle of nowhere, but...
You were ready to be looking out for the ducks before the Nintendo came out, I guess.
It was a big duck. Freakish. Like, you would stab it too if you saw a duck that size. But yeah, I distinctly remember the time when my brother came home from, being over at his friend's place to play, and telling me about like, oh, you gotta, my friend has this Nintendo, and he was all like, my friend has this system called the Nintendo, or whatever. He didn't say system. We didn't really use words like that back then. He's like, oh, my friend has a Nintendo, and he's got this really cool game where it's like, you're this little guy who like runs on the screen and you jump on mushrooms and it like squishes them. Because like
it felt so good.
Yeah, because the thing is, back then, it's like, if you hit an enemy, they would like disappear. Like there was no, the idea of a mushroom that you have to step on and it squishes was like, it was like, what? Like, just because the thing got squished. Like, it's hard to explain now how groundbreaking it was to squish a mushroom.
Oh, yeah. And the feeling of growing and shooting and getting hit and getting flower power. And it was
backgrounds?
So good.
The game had a background. Which some games back then had a background, but not like this.
It's funny though, because describing Mario still sounds weird to this day. It's a tough sell in a way. It's hard to explain Mario, without sounding like you're on drugs. You know what I mean, with the squishing of the mushrooms and so forth.
I was reading like the little Wikipedia entry about Super Mario 2 and realizing that I'd never actually read the storyline of the game that I've played like over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, damn, this game sounds so weird. Like, to explain it, it makes no flippin' sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
Exactly.
Not in the slightest. Not even within the... I mean, it established a lot of Super Mario Brothers canon, but it clearly had no connection to the original, which... And we're just going to assume everybody knows a lot of the history about the Super Mario Brothers series. Like, I'm pretty sure we don't have to...
Particularly the second.
What?
Yeah, oh, sorry about that. I would say particularly the second game, I think, is probably the one with the asterisk mark.
Yeah, everyone knows about that, so we're not going to delve too far into it, but just be aware that we are aware of, Doki Doki Panic and all that. Not to be confused with Doki Doki Literature Club. That's different.
Either way, Doki Doki means like heart beating fast, so very appropriate for both of those names.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Learned. Yeah, it's an onomatopoeia for the sound of a heartbeat. Doki Doki.
Doki.
Yeah.
You say like Doki Doki, like that?
I guess.
Doki Doki.
It would, yeah.
Yeah, more than like Doki Doki Doki. Yours makes way more sense.
Sounds like the Jaws theme, but with Doki.
Doki. Doki. Doki, Doki, Doki. Super Mario Brothers 2, though, was like... that's one that really got me. Like, Super Mario Brothers 1 was like... That was groundbreaking. But Super Mario Brothers 2 was like the Empire Strikes Back of Mario Brothers, right? It was just like that, oh my god, this is just above and beyond. Like, look at the stuff that you can do now. I remember, again, brother's friend had Mario Brothers 2. I didn't really get to play it very much. We didn't have a Nintendo, but my brother managed to borrow the manual from his friend and brought it home. So I just like, I think I've alluded to this in the past episode, where I would just sit there reading the manual back and forth because that was my exposure to Super Mario Bros. 2 for a good long while before I finally got to play it.
It's a really wholesome backstory. It really brings you back to the time.
Were you expecting not wholesome? All the perverse ways that I interacted with the game?
60-40, yeah. I'm not going to say which way, just 60-40.
After playing Mario 2 for a long time, I remember my favorite thing was to warp to World 4 and then go to where there's all the flying devils coming at you and the guys on the little flurry guys that are running really fast back and forth, and I'd go in as princess and I had it all memorized for like ducking and flying. Like,
oh, nice.
It's the kind of game you get so boss at. Like, I wanted to find all the secrets and memorize everything about it.
I have a question because I've never really gotten the most I've ever really done. I never actually finished Super Mario Bros. 1. I know that's shameful to admit, but it just didn't keep me entertained that long. It was cool, but it didn't really keep me to the end. And even the furthest I ever got was because of like the very famous warp points. So Super Mario Bros. 1 inside and out. Was there an ice level in Mario Bros. 1?
There were not any ice levels in Super Mario Bros. 1.
No, okay. So it was Super Mario Bros. 2 might be my earliest memory of an ice level. And as much as I love Super Mario Bros. 2, boy, do I hate ice levels. And it's probably stems from that.
That's funny, because like I said, I was so boss on the ice level, that one. I slid and I jumped and I hovered in a ducking position and I had the positions of everything memorized. I hate them too. I freaking hate them, but I was so good at that ice level, man. And it still feels so good to do.
Was it 3 that there was like too much ice in? I think
Probably.
It was the third one. There was too many ice levels.
Yeah, but they made up for it with other
I'm just bad at
things.
them.
Like Goomba shoes and Tanuki suits and stuff. And then like white blocks that you could duck behind and fun stuff.
Mario Brothers 3 was, they introduced a lot of really cool stuff that was incredibly annoying. Like auto-scrolling levels for the, for the tank levels.
Yeah.
And like the boat levels and like, just...
What auto-scrolling had the bitey sun, right? The sun that attacks you, maybe?
That's Mario 2. Wait,
is it really?
No, that's Mario 3.
It's 3. Oh, it is 3.
That's 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
And the sun kind of follows you, but the level, does the level continue to go on that one? I know that the whirlwind comes on that one and picks you up and spins you away.
Right. But there was no sun? There was no hostile sun in 2?
I don't believe so.
I'm kind of, I might be crossing a lot of these.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will say that Mario Bros. 2 introduced my favorite minion characters, which are the Shy Guys. I love those things. I have my go-to Halloween costume of the past like 5 years has been a Shy Guy.
Nice.
Yeah, they're super cute. That would be adorable. I like that costume idea.
It was a pain to make because you can't just buy it. So I really wish I could just spend like $100 and buy a Shy Guy costume that looked good. Instead, I had to do this like ratty thrift store with a homemade mask, which I'm actually pretty proud of because I put a lot of time and money into that mask.
So there's going to be pictures available for the listeners to see now, right?
Yeah, eventually. It will not be accompanying this episode.
The mechanics in 2 were so much fun. I mean, picking them up, picking up the big turn-ups and freezing time. Yeah. It's just, there were so many cool things about that. The little secrets were so fun.
Picking up your enemies and throwing them at other enemies and teaching everyone that turnips are to be feared.
There was something so satisfying with the feel of jumping on one of them's head and picking them up and tossing them. I missed that in 3 for sure. I will say though, as much as I adored 2, it's really hard to pick favorites, but I'd probably say 2's my favorite for reference. That as much as I loved it, by the time 3 came out or by the time I got it, whatever, it was really welcome. Like I thought it was awesome too. Like I think I had about all I could take of Mario 2 as much as I loved it. And it was just like, it was almost nice to go back to, it felt like a remaster of the first one at the time. Right. You know, it was like, we're going to go back to that style, but everything just looks better. And I love the leaf and the foxtail mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
To
well,
this
you know,
day.
ever since The Wizard came out, I'm just like, oh, fuck, I need to play that game, like, now.
Oh, God, yeah. Like,
Like, Fred leads me through.
I did not particularly fall to the charms of the Wizard, any more so than I was already inherently excited for Super Mario Brothers 3. But you know, being that age that we were and being the 80s, we were far less cynical about blatant advertisement masquerading as a plot.
Yeah, I mean,
Right,
come on, you've got his little brother's in like a mental institution, and it's all a hardcore plot. Turns out he's like a super genius, and yeah, I mean, I knew what it was. I was okay with it though. I let it be okay with me.
Mm-hmm. My friend had a weird copy of Mario 3. It was, I can't remember specifically if it was Japanese or Chinese. I'm going to assume it was Japanese, but you know, my friend was Chinese. And he had a copy of Mario 3, which had like some weird feature where you could like just choose which items you wanted to have. Like it was, it was like a built-in like I don't know if it was like a sort of kind of like a debug. Where just if you're on the overworld map, you go into the menu where you have like your items that you could use, your bonus items, and you could just choose whatever you wanted to use. And it was like some
memory
weird
of this.
Yeah, but I don't know what that version was. Like, was it a debug? Like, was it some sort of like advanced release copy that he somehow got a hold of through his parents or
Game Genie or
Game
something?
Genie?
No, it wasn't even. It wasn't. It was like it was a part of the cartridge. It was like a part of the game.
Why do I remember that? Being able to do that.
Was there like a re-release? I mean, that's such a small window.
No, this was before it even came out.
No,
in North America.
Oh.
This was like before. Like we didn't believe him when he said he had Super Mario Brothers 3. We're like, no, that doesn't exist yet. He's like, no, come over, I'll show you. And it's like, whoa, this is Super Mario Brothers 3. And he's like, yeah, and look, check it out. You can use all these different items.
No, it says to get into debug mode, you have to use in this version anyways, it's Game Genie. That's probably where I knew it was from.
But in this case, I'm telling you, it was not a Game Genie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably the only reason I know about it.
Right, okay. And again, like I said, this was even before it made it to North America.
There it is. Yeah, on the map screen. I used to do this all the time, pressing up and down selects your starting world, and then A gives you 5 more lives. On the map screen, one of each item is available in your item slots for the first 2 rows, and the second 2 rows are filled with P-Wings, kind of like when you beat the game. Because when you beat the game, you get all that.
Yeah, now that sounds very similar. So is that the Game Genie code?
Yeah, that's the Game Genie debug mode.
It's like, it was like that, but I swear, and okay, maybe I am wrong, so if somebody can verify this with me, but I swear, as far as my memory can properly serve, and I admit I have a poor memory, I really don't think it was a Game Genie. I think it was just sort of like built into the game at that point.
Well, it is built into the cartridge, and the Game Genie just makes it accessible.
Yeah.
So even without the Game Genie, it is there.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure, but what I'm saying is I'm pretty sure this version of it did not need the Game Genie to access it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense then. Probably, so if the Game Genie was just at a, like, I don't know, if the Game Genie was accessing debug modes because they're already generally left on the cartridges, then he must have got one. Right? It's got to be the only explanation, especially if it was, if you had it before it was released here.
Yeah, 3 was fun. 3 was fun. Like, I'd have rules because I play these games with people. Like, I've played all of them with all my kids, and then I play them again with James. And the rule is generally no warping if you're in a 2-player in number 1, of course. Yeah, generally, unless I'm just fucking around, I don't bother warping anyways. I'm not a fan. I like to know that I can do it, or do it if I'm trying to show somebody something specific. But when I play through, I just want to play through the game.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's like once you've beaten it, you don't need to like go back and then cheat beat it. I guess you could say. Like, you know.
My middle son's overtaken me on skill. He can do the lost levels. He's done it once also with Mario, once with Luigi, and once with Luigi, but holding the fast button down for the whole time.
Mm-hmm. He's
really, like, they're into glitches, stuff like that. That's pretty awesome. That's some dedication. I'm too scattered to do something like that. Nintendo's like a part of the many, many things I do.
Yeah, I can't. The speedrunning is definitely entertaining. I'd like to be around like a speedrunner when they discovered a game for the first time that they end up playing for the next 12 years. You know what I mean? Like, what's that moment? Like, I love this so much, I'm going to play it for a decade.
I'm following
I have an actual Guinness record.
The speedrun group is on the Discord is a group that I follow, and they speedrun Quest for Glory. Shout out to those guys. My gosh, it's a dedicated bunch of people that know the series very well inside and out. Back to Mario. The coolest thing about number 3 is that shoe. You can go into the shoe. You can ride around in a shoe. Yeah. And that is like the neatest thing ever.
Anything below you can't kill you, so you can walk across all the little little plants.
Yep. My little bomb plants that open and close, and you can just like jump on top of the guys coming out of the pipes. And just like, no big deal. Although it's awkward to control, it's worth it. And like my whole quest, I remember back in the day, was trying to make it go as far as you could make it go before you lost it.
Yeah.
You know, but then at the end of the level, if you're in the boot, you can't get a star to get all the extra lives. You get stuck with the stupid mushroom, right?
That's right. So. Yeah. Because there's that little trick. You have to always be like in a full charge run. And then you'll always get the star. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. They kind of mastered, they nailed that mechanic, because it's like after 30 some years, I still can't just get that right. You know, like you think by now I would get 3 stars every time, or you know what I mean, stars every time.
What's your guys' technique for winning extra lives with your coins in 2?
Oh, in 2? None. I don't have any. What I do now, my technique now is very different from my utter failure back then. See, back then I just couldn't. I don't think I've ever gotten an extra life off that thing. But nowadays, because there's emulators, I could just save scum it and just like if I lose it, then I'll just restore. Save states.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Cheeky, yeah. Well done.
I was taught how to do that by other games I was playing at the time.
It was learned behavior. I have no technique either. I'm kind of a panic and flail. I flail my arms like Kermit the Frog. Just
yeah. Because by the same token, I don't think I ever got any extra lives off the sliding puzzle in Mario 3 either.
Huh. Yeah, I'm pretty good at those, and my technique, which actually worked with the original Mario 2 and didn't work with the Super Mario All-Stars version of Mario 2, I found, is if you get it to start right, and then you do it on an exact, like, always the same timing, right? So whether it's slow, you have to hit it on the same timing, but you have to make sure your first hit is after that many seconds. So it's like 1-2 hit, 1-2 hit, 1-2 hit. That worked really well. Or if you get like just a mushroom at the beginning, you just spam it really, really, really fast as you can, and it'll hook in, and it'll just force it to keep on giving you your extra lives for some reason.
I had no idea.
Wow. That's fascinating, because you're focusing on the rhythm instead of the visual. In other words,
but that's the thing too, because even now that I know that, if I were to go back and try it, I don't have that rhythm or internal timing to be able to actually pull it off.
I'm really good at getting the first 2 out of 3 on that puzzle. Like, really good. I can nail the first 2 all the time.
It's all about
frustrating.
Timing. Yeah. I just hope I get the cherries. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
I guess this is why we generally don't talk about console games, because I think we're already kind of running dry. We talked about like a whole trilogy too.
I used to go to my friend's house, and she had a Nintendo before I had a Nintendo, and she almost never let me have a turn, because what would happen was we'd play 2-player and she was really good and I wasn't very good and I'd keep dying and she'd keep living forever. So she's sitting there on like World 4 and I'm just like, oh my God, I suck. But at least I got to learn, because she had an older sister, right? So I got to learn all the secrets and all the little hidden things, because I spent so much time watching her and doing the thing we do with kids now. Here, have the extra controller that's not plugged in. You know, you sit there with your sweaty controller playing along with them.
Like, I'm jump, you're run.
Well, it's like Super Mario Galaxy. I don't know that you've played them. I don't think you have, Rick. But if you give your friend the controller, they can pick up all these like gems kind of that are lying around by pointing the Wii mote at it and picking them up, so to speak. So you're like, here, friend, we can play 2-player.
I'm helping.
I'm helping.
Yeah, I played only enough Super Mario Galaxy to know about that feature. Although I totally forgot about it until you reminded me of it now. But I definitely was. I definitely was the 2-player picker-upper of things.
I always gave it to my kids. Here you go. Thanks for helping.
Well, actually, that's kind of like where I have the most fun in a lot of these things, because, like, you know, I just suck at a lot of these games. So, as you already kind of knew, which is what you were kind of alluding to, is I have not really played very many Mario games past Mario World. Mm-hmm. I've never played like even the first second of Mario Sunshine. And I did play a little bit of Galaxy. I played New Super Mario.
I didn't like that one as much.
No. I played it anyways because I bought it, but yeah.
It's like, you died. Here, have more lives. You died again. Here, have unlimited lives. You died again. Here, you can stay big. Like, okay. Yeah.
It had some really cool ideas. It's just like you said, it was just way too like, oh, did you die? Here's like 5 more lives. It's
exactly.
Like, oh, yeah.
I'm like, why do I have 114 lives? I don't even understand how this happened. Although, okay, did you guys ever employ the cheat? Because I was deadly good at the cheat in Mario 1. The one we're in Mario 1.
Oh, Mario 1.
So you could step on the turtle a bunch of times on the steps in World 3, right up at the flag, and you could get, like, crown lives.
I have seen that done. I've never been able to pull it off.
Oh, I was obsessed with doing that for all my friends. It's all in how fast you can button.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen the slowly degrading crown of lives. But,
and then you die because you go too far.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because like, if you get to a certain number, then you eventually die. Like,
yeah, you just like in the middle of nowhere, you die and you have nothing, and it doesn't even save the lives you got.
Oh, it doesn't.
It's just like, oh, you suck now. Yeah.
Oh,
you died.
Okay. Hey, isn't there? Like I said, I admit I never actually finished Mario 1. But do I remember something about like there's like a different world once you finish or something like that? Like there's some. What am I thinking of?
Well, yeah, for one, if you finish, you can go back to where you are. And then now I know in Super Mario World, everything gets slightly harder, too. But you can hit like BA start or something.
Oh, yeah, and then, something like that. And it's like a different version.
All of the normal guys are the shelled guys.
Oh, okay.
Like, because they're the harder guys to kill. So instead of being like the guys you can just jump on once, it's those brown guys that are from the later levels that you jump on and it doesn't actually kill it like the same way.
Okay. You see, I remember campfire stories about that, but I don't think I've ever seen it myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I said, if you reset the Nintendo, you lose that. So you get your extra world, everything's super harder, you're playing through it, the freaking thing's killing you, but then you turn off your Nintendo and it's gone.
Right.
Yeah, because like in Super Mario World later on, which was my newest favorite after 3, probably, you could, after you were all done doing your Star World, everything was different, and then you had like weird creatures and stuff instead too. But you could keep it because you could save it.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to get too far into World because we're kind of focusing on the NES ones, but I do think of the series World was probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to get far in, but it has the comparison where if you finish it, it's different.
Right.
Was that what was the first Mario that saved your game state?
I think 3 did that. Or did it? No, because you could just continue.
Yeah.
But Mario World is when you could save.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Super Nintendo was the first time. The Nintendo wasn't really known for its save states, although you could get passcodes. Like, okay, Metroid came out at the same time as Mario 3, and I was super stoked for Mario 3. So I go down to Crazy Mike's, and I go to rent Super Mario 3, and I saw Metroid, and I'm like, holy shit, what's this? And I took it, and I rented it instead, and I got home, and before I even played it, I changed my mind. I took Metroid back and I got Super Mario 3 anyway. And I had to fight with them to be able to do that. You're like, you took it home. This is your rental now. And I'm like, no, I want that one, but I don't have enough money. And I had an argument with them and I won and I got my Mario 3 and I took it home. But awesome. Props to Metroid. It's also a good game.
The Legend of Zelda games, you were able to save your progress. Mm-hmm. So you were able to technically on the Nintendo.
That's right. See, wow. I didn't get much in until the Super Nintendo one.
Yeah.
Link to the Past. Yeah, that was my favorite, too.
Yes, absolutely. But, again, not to get too far off topic, but the Legend of Zelda games, you were able to save your progress. But you had to, hold reset as you turned it off. Otherwise, you risk accidentally erasing your data.
Huh.
I remember stuff doing that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So did it write to the cartridge?
I think so. I think it's they have a battery on it that kind of. I don't know how it works. Yeah, I'm not a cartridge engineer or whatever.
If the battery dies, you lose everything on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how far up your back I was. Apparently, there. My bad.
But yeah, there was a lot of in those days going to bed and leaving the Nintendo on and then going to sleep. Yeah. And then waking up and continuing my game because I'm I'm not doing all that shit again, and I'm on World 7, so
yeah. You pause the game to go to dinner, come back and pause. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. Especially with Mario 2, because that's the one that it's really long. It's really long game when you think of it, and if you run out of lives, you're gone. You don't get to go back.
I like the pause menu for 2. It goes all bassy. Do, 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 do. It's really cool.
Yeah. It gave me a weird old memory of pausing it for overnight or whatever and always habitually putting the controller button side down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, because you wouldn't want something to accidentally unpause your game and screw you over while you're sleeping. Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay, again, I've not really followed the Mario series past World, so I haven't even played Mario 64 to any real degree.
I'm not very good at that one. I didn't get it.
Yeah, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mario 2 was so ahead of its time that no future Mario game to date has done character selects. Mario 2, you could choose between Mario, Luigi, Princess, Toadstool, and Toad. Princess Toadstool, now known as Peach, but that was so ahead of its time that I don't think they've ever done it. I don't think they've actually caught up to that mechanic.
Paper Mario is the closest you could come, but it's RPG, so I don't think it really counts.
Yeah, no, not quite. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I would really a great game.
Well, actually, I'm about to say I would really like to see this, but maybe it exists. Has there been an attempt to revisit the vibe, I guess, of Mario 2 since?
They released Mario 2 for the Game Boy Advance, which is a little bit of a revamped version. So it's not a direct translation of it quite, but it's they kind of added a lot more into it.
Just All-Stars, right. And where they recreated it, gave it some updated graphics, took out some of the bugs. Hey, here's the other bug I used to love. Back to Mario 1 because it had great stuff. There's one where if you were ducking when you hit the drawbridge release at the end of the level, and that happens at the exact same time that you get hit by Bowser, then you get to flash, and then when you go into the next level, you're in opposite land, which is what I call it, and then you're actually small, but you're big, and you're flickering, and then when you get hit by something, you get big instead of small, it's the opposite way around.
Oh. Cool.
And then you die if you're big. So you're small, you get hit, you get big. If you're big, you get hit, you die. If you have firepower and you're small, you get big as a sprite for just a quick flash of a second. When you shoot the fireball, then you get small again.
Which one is this? Number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, you can't do it either in the All Stars, which I have to. You can only do it in the original. But that was my favorite little other parlor trick in that one to show people. Yeah,
and I don't know at all. It just kind of sprung to mind, like, I don't feel like I've seen from the very outside, but still, going to sites that tell you about gamer stuff almost every day, so it's not super outside. But and I've just never really gotten the vibe that there's been like like you said, to launch with a console or just to make a big deal out of like, this brand new Mario and it's a little bit darker and kind of weird and it's actually made after Mario Brothers 2 and but I don't know, it'd be kind of cool because I really liked it. Earlier you had described it as I don't remember. Attack of the Jedi. I'm bad at Star Wars, mate. Return of the something.
Can you name the first 3 Star Wars movies, like the original trilogy?
No. Return of the. There's Return of the Jedi.
If I am going to have to publicly admit my shame of never beating Super Mario 1, at least I have you to not even know the original trilogy of Star Wars to take the attention away from me. So I'm really happy about this development.
And I haven't beaten Super Mario Brothers 1 either. Damn it.
No, you guys. I thought we were coming in a little bit more prepared than this. Jeez.
I've watched it been beaten by my older brother for sure, but there's no way in hell I finished it.
Funny.
No.
I've seen it beat up.
a lot of time in.
Yeah.
I remember, guys, I dropped out of school super early. So I had a lot more free time than y'all.
But have any of you guys finished Mario 2?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what did you think of that ending? That's probably why they don't really do a direct sequel to that one. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, but it was fun getting there, and the last bad guy was actually quite fun. Actually, you know what? Every single end enemy in that game was really creative.
I'm not sure how much they may or may not have been revisited. I guess that's kind of part of what Paul's kind of asking. But there's a lot of enemies I thought really could have been cool to carry over into future series, like Mouser. Like, does Mouser show up later on?
You said it better than I did. You said Mouser. I always say it Mouser. I say it wrong, I think.
I don't know which one's correct. I've only ever seen it written. Triclide. It's just a Hydra, basically. Mario should fight more Hydras.
Totally.
I think Birdo shows up a few times, doesn't he? She.
Yeah, of course.
Who's the one with the egg in its face?
Birdo.
That's my favorite. I love that one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it had a name. You wouldn't know its name from playing the game, right?
No, but remember I read the manual for like a year?
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yes,
and the manual actually, but actually, to counter my point, the manual actually had it wrong, and they called Birdo Ostro.
Yeah, they called him Ostro, and they called the Cloud Iggy, and had it wrong in the other ones too, because that's not his name either. Or no, the manual had it right, and I had it wrong. That's probably what it was.
Back to one job, yeah.
Yeah, so they called Ostro, the ostrich, they called that one Birdo, which I didn't think was conspicuous or anything. But Birdo was called Ostro. I always wondered why he was called Ostro. And it took me, I was so young, it took me a long time for someone to explain to me, like, they're actually switched. I'm like, oh, Ostro, like an ostrich. Because it didn't occur to me then. I just took it for its word. Why is it called Ostro? Because it's obviously called Ostro. It's written in the manual.
You asked me a while ago what I thought about the ending, and you're like, where can they really go from there? But I always thought the ending kind of made sense, because the game didn't fully fit in the series. It wasn't even meant to be in the series. So the fact that it didn't exist in the first place and was never continued on kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's like, where do you go from there? As in, like, you can't really carry that too much further because it was a dream. So what can you do with that?
Exactly.
Spoilers, Paul, by the way.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize they went full, like full. So was it like a fourth wall, or it was just straight up dream?
No, it's a straight up dream. Like you finish the game, the credits roll, and then you finish it, you beat the final boss. I forget what his name is.
He's the froggy
King
guy.
Wart, yeah.
You know the names better than I do.
I read the manual for a year.
I love that.
So I wonder if warts ever come back.
And then they do a thing where they tell you who did what. Like they're like, you used Luigi for X amount of levels, and you used Prince for this amount of levels.
But the end credits, the end credits is that you do like the whole like there's a ceremony and you celebrate that you defeated Wart, and then that scene becomes a dream bubble over in a picture of Mario snoring in bed.
Yeah, like this tiny pixelated picture. I remember they shrink it down so you you cannot mistake that for being what's happening. And then it's his dream bubble, and it goes all like nighttime looking.
Right. It's weird because I'm looking at the screenshots. I've definitely beaten the game because I've definitely played Wart numerous times. I just don't remember it, I guess. I mean, it has been well over 20 years. But yeah, Rick, for all of the knowledge that you have, there is a disproportionate amount of it in Mario Brothers 2 because of that manual.
Yes. Everything else has certainly happened. I mean, I probably finished Mario 3 the most out of all of the Mario games. Like, I like World the best, but I think I finished Mario 3 the most because that was like my after school activity for a couple of years. But I didn't read the manual for a year for Mario 3. I did for Mario 2, so I know Mario 2 a little bit better.
I find Mario 3 to be the one that I complete and have the hardest time completing now as a grown-up, actually, compared to number 1 and number 2. I can go through them a lot more quickly.
Yeah. I would agree that I find it really difficult because we've got the mini, Nintendo's whatever set up here, and yeah, so we cycled through all the Marios kind of exclusively, and three was definitely the hardest for me because it was definitely the hardest for me.
Yeah. James and I were playing them through again recently, and we're currently stuck on World. What is it? The Giant World, I think, is the one we're stuck on. What is that? 6, 7? I don't remember, but it's not going very well. I'm just like, why do I keep dying too? I'm supposed to be the one that's better at this than you, because usually I'm laughing at him and I'm like, damn, you suck. And now he's like, hey, you're kind of sucking. I'm like, I'm not old.
I think I actually might have finished that a couple of times, like just long play. But most of the times I just skip right to the end. I think I knew exactly, there's a certain point where you have the opportunity to skip to the final world, but I think I played just a little bit longer to make sure I have enough supplies to get me through it. Have all the right items, have enough lives, and then I warp over and then just destroy that level. But I need that P-wing, I got to get through that tank level by just flying over it.
It's so much easier. I know. I love it when I'm disciplined enough, because I don't warp, right? But I love it when I'm disciplined enough to save the P-wing, and I'm just like, oh my god, this feels so good.
I don't think I recall knowing what to do with that for a shocking amount of time.
Oh.
Before I even bothered to, I think, press a button. So, quick question for Mario 2. What was your favorite characters to play as?
Depends on the level.
I think, back then, and for most of I've ever played it, I would say Luigi. But I think lately I've been more of a Toad guy.
Holy cow! I've never been able to play with Luigi. I just can't handle my inability. I'm a control freak. I think my inability to effectively control Luigi made his high jumps not as helpful to me. And so
his high jumps were the whole game to me.
I would use Princess specifically for certain levels, of course, because her length and her ability to hold. And generally I would go between Princess and Toad. And Toad specifically on levels where there were a lot of coins, because in some levels he was the only one that could pick up enough coins fast enough to try to get extra lives with, as compared with Princess, of course, sucked at picking up the coins in the opposite world. So it was usually those two.
You need Toad for the desert levels.
See, and I use Princess for the desert levels.
Really?
Yes, totally.
Toad needs to dig real fast.
I know, but she can glide real fast and get up over things and do things I was really good with the landing pad shit too, and it's all in the timing.
Right.
I don't think I ever switched. I think I was always princess because because my weakness was timing jumps. So she gave me like that little, that extra, second to deal with that.
I did really like that. I thought Mario was useless because he was just in the middle of everything, and Luigi was useless because he was all like crazy, what the fuck. So just only Princess and Toad. I was good with that.
I get the sense that Luigi gave you some sort of anxiety when you played as him.
I was always
He's
kind of
erratic, he's unpredictable.
I've never been wanting to be around men that make me feel uncomfortable, and Luigi and I just never quite got along. And Mario, he's more charming and predictable. He's the kind of guy I like.
Any final thoughts on Mario's 1 through 3? Super Mario's 1 through 3, not that arcade thing where you just jump around at power blocks.
It's a game that I've always played, and if you have kids and you're wondering, like, when are they going to be able to handle the console, I generally say around the ages of 4 and 5, depending on what he's into. Once they can make the connection that what they're doing's on the TV, they're pretty good to go. So, great family game. Go out and play it. Oh, wait, you already have.
Paul?
Oh, yeah. I was hoping I'd just get skipped over, to be honest. I think that's what I was doing there. It was like, just lay low. I'll go right into the thing here.
Pretend they don't see me.
Yeah. But no, it's it's a game, and you've probably played it, so we're good here,
All right.
More of you are probably more qualified to talk about it than us, as you could probably tell during the episode.
Much. Yeah, I mean, in terms of facts and stuff like that, yeah, we're pretty much on the low end of things. But I mean, we're talking about the experience, right? We're talking about what it was like, when it came out. It's like trying to explain to somebody what Citizen Kane was like when it came out, which I can't because I'm not nearly that old. But it's there was before Super Mario and then after Super Mario. You just can't describe what it's like to somebody to experience Super Mario 1 for the first time. Yeah,
exactly. Because I think on the PC at the same time, I was probably playing games more like Tapper. I think Leisure Suit Larry, Rosella. Totally different genre of games for most of them, though.
Yeah. I guess next week we'll have to talk about something Sierra for Paul to be in on this one, eh?
Like, it's my final thoughts are it's a good game, all three of them. It's just not, it's no James Pond 2 RoboCod. Which is a superior game in every way.
Okay, if you could, I mean, everyone knows Mario is awesome, but let's, now that Paul's put us on that track, what's the game that you would recommend people play instead of Mario, but similar? For instance, the reason why I'm saying is because Anna was just talking about Bonk that she discovered, rediscovered.
Mm-hmm.
Bonk is awesome. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking consoles, I would say pick up King's Quest V on the NES.
I mean, the most similar is Sonic, and it's not similar, and it's not on the same console.
Not similar, but I mean, just like, not like exactly similar, but like, hey, if you like Mario, perhaps you should try this.
If you like Mario, try Sonic, or try some of the first Wonder Boys, because he's just walking. I mentioned earlier to you, Rick, before the episode about Wonder Boy and Monsterland. But that one's kind of more like Zelda, but my God, did I ever love that game.
Right. I've always been a big Mega Man fan, so that would be my pick.
Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3.
Nice choice. Mega Man 3, 2, yeah.
Okay, so Paul's drowning here, so I think we should probably...
Bonk. Play Bonk. That's good. Play Bonk now, because nobody did back then.
Play Keith Courage. Oh, everyone played Bonk back then. Come on.
Well, nobody had the bloody...
That was the thing to play. That was the only thing anyone had played on the TurboGrafx.
Yeah, but nobody had a TurboGrafx.
It was always the game that was on display at the Radio Shack. Everyone played Bonk.
Okay, all right, that's true. Yeah. Well, let me add an asterisk. I just have to add "at home" to my sentence, and now it makes sense.
All right. Well, we made our best attempt to talk about something that wasn't an adventure game. Well,
I thought it went well.
We have enough to call this an episode, so we might or might not try this again sometime. But like Anna said, a lot of you probably know Mario better than we do, so if there's anything that you want to rant about us that we got wrong or incomplete, then write to us. We have an email at mail@classicgamersguild.com. We also have a Facebook group and a page if you want to join the conversation or get some updates on the show. You can tweet us on Twitter at the CG Guild. We will also post updates on Instagram at CGG Podcast. And if you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon too, so come find us there. Give us a little, anything's great. Toss a coin our way. We have a lot of, by now we have a fair number of really generous patrons who are donating to the show and keeping the lights on around here. Particularly the extra special thanks tier, Mark Fillion and Jay Holmes. Thank you guys so much. You really help us out a lot. I'm really not even sure if we'd be doing this without your contributions. I haven't done that closer in a while, so I can't remember if I got everything. But did I miss anything here?
Don't do murder.